Good evening and welcome to a program about Odyssey of the Mind. I'm Nina Price and I'm Regional Director of California Region 11, which includes the area from San Francisco all the way through Monterey County. This evening you'll meet young people and adults who've been involved in this year's Odyssey of the Mind program in Region 11, including some teams that have won at our regional competition and gone on to compete against teams from throughout the state of California. With me is Steve Shearer, who is one of the state directors from Odyssey of the Mind, and Lynn Macy, who also sits on the Region 11 board. They'll be telling us a little bit about the program. It's a program built around young people doing problem solving, working in teams, working within cost constraints and constraints specified by the problem that they're working on. I'd like to talk a little bit about the competition. I've asked Steve to tell us a bit. What is an Odyssey of the Mind competition like?
Oh, it's a bunch of crazy kids getting together and doing some long-term problem solving on long-term problems, and then also doing something that they don't know about in advance, called spontaneous problem solving. And based upon these, how well they do and how well they work as a team, they go on to the next level. And the levels would be regional to start with, state, and then national.
And we'll talk a little bit about the problems. Lynn, tell us a little bit about the problems that the teams have to solve each year.
Well, the problems change each year. They fall in several basic categories. There's always a vehicle problem. It changes each year from being a riding vehicle to being a small vehicle. There are performance problems where the kids develop what's almost a play to be delivered in about 8 minutes. And there's a couple of technical problems, one of which is a structure. The kids have to develop a balsa wood structure out of about 18 grams of balsa wood and then crush it with relatively large amounts of weight, even for small kids. The technical problem varies each year, and this year it's a music problem, which I'm fairly familiar with since that one's my problem.
Lynn, in addition to serving on the Odyssey of the Mind Region 11 board, Lynn and Steve, and actually I've been involved in judging this year at regional competitions and state competitions. In fact, both of these gentlemen will be judging at the world competition to be held at Iowa State University in Ames, Iowa at the beginning of June. How's the competition organized? When we have a regional competition, tell us a little bit about how that works.
The competition basically is divided into 3 divisions that pretty much approximate elementary school, middle school, and high school. In that competition, the teams have a total of 8 minutes to produce their activities, solve their problem. They also will meet at a room and solve a problem that is highly secretive. No one knows what the problem is except some of the judges. And in fact, some of the kids won't even tell their parents what the problems are until after the competition for the entire state ends with the state competition.
And we'll see examples of these kinds of long-term and spontaneous problems here tonight, featuring teams from various schools in Palo Alto. I'd like to know a little bit about how OM got started. Can you tell us a bit?
Sure. It started about 15 years ago in New Jersey. Sam Nicholas decided that his students needed something a little different from the regular schoolwork that they were doing to sort of push their creativity and also develop the teamwork. And so he started by giving them a problem that they would need to work as a team and come up with a different solution to it, not something that he knew about, but something that was totally unexpected. And The creativity aspect of the problem is very important. It started in the state of California a little over 10 years ago. We've been a chartered association now for 9 years, so next year is our 10th anniversary of being an official Odyssey of the Mind state organization. We're really excited about that.
That's right, and you can expect to hear more about that next year as we celebrate 10 years of Odyssey of the Mind in California. Locally, Region 11 spans from San Francisco all the way through Monterey counties, and we've had over 700 students involved this year from over 70 schools in that area. Within Palo Alto alone, over 120 students have been involved from grades kindergarten through high school in Odyssey of the Mind, and we're about to meet and see some of them right now. I'd like to introduce, for our first performance, from Duveneck Elementary School in Palo Alto, a team which won not only at our local Region 11 competition, but also won in state competition in their problem. These are elementary school students, and the problem that they worked on involved building musical instruments or musical devices. What you'll see them do is the 8-minute presentation that they did before judges at both regional and state competitions. You'll see that everything that they are going to show you today are things that they invented, that they built, that they dreamed about and made happen. They had to build 3 musical devices which were powered by different ways, and which had to be activated not by someone standing within an area called the concert area, but outside that area. And you'll see how they solved the problem. Part of their solution to the problem is an actual brief concert in which a particular melody is played by their instruments. So I'd now like to introduce to you, from Duveneck Elementary School, the OM Believable Music team and their solution to this year's technical problem called OM Believable Music.
And the audience rushes in.
Welcome to Celebrity Achoo Pepperty! Today on Celebrity Pepperty, our contestants are Al Capone, Robin Could, and Bob Hopeless.
I lose more golf clubs that way.
And here's our host, Alex Kerchew.
No, my name's not Alex Kerchew. It's Alex Trechew.
Oh, excuse me, it's Alex Trechew.
You'll never get it right. Okay, Al, tell us about yourself.
I'm gonna win this game, see? That's all I have to say about myself. Yeah, that's it, see?
That's fairly interesting, Mr. Capone. Robin, how about you?
I was what you call a borrower. I borrowed from the rich and gave to the poor. I'll return it soon. I just haven't gotten around to it.
That's great, Robin. Now, ciao, Bob Hopeless.
As you know, I'm a comedian, and I've lost every penny I've ever owned.
But you have a huge bank account.
Of course, those aren't pennies. Those are dollars.
We are experiencing audio difficulties. Our soundtrack is broken. Stay tuned.
Don't worry, I have a musical background.
Hi, Mom. Autographs later, please. Thank you, contestants. Our categories for today are jokes, history, and geography. Al, choose first.
Give me gangsters 100.
That's not a category. Try again.
Jokes for 200.
This composer was hiding in the tree.
Who was friends Joseph Haydn?
Correct.
Geography for 200.
This composer was born in Salzburg.
Who is Beethoven?
Incorrect.
Who was Mozart?
You mean you don't even know who Mozart was? Oh, excuse me. That's correct. Now it's time for a commercial break. We'll be right back. Hit it, boys!
Oh, sad trash bag, oh, won't you cry for me? For I'm going to the landfill with garbage stuffed in me.
Take it home, boys.
Jokes for 300.
These composers were penniless.
Who are the ones without change?
Incorrect.
Who are the Baroque composers?
Correct. We're out of time. Now, final Pepperdi. The subject is game shows. Place your wagers. The answer is, this game show tells the answer and the contestants state a question. Al, what's your answer?
The price is wrong.
Get a life. Robin, can you do any better?
Wheel of Misfortune.
Come on, Bob, it's up to you.
Drum roll, please. What is Pepperdi?
Correct. Sorry, Bob, but you didn't have anything to wager.
Nothing? Zero?
Robin is our winner. Will our contestants go home empty-handed?
No! Robin gets a micro trash bag. Al gets a lifetime supply of dirt. And Bob gets a vest from Pennies. I'm not penniless. I am... this much hope.
Oh no! We lost our marbles! Everybody pick them up!
This show is sponsored by duct tape, quack quack, and sad trash rag. Woo! The end.
Thank you for attending Celebrity Pepperdi.
At the end of each team's performance, like the one you just saw by this team from Duvenik School here in Palo Alto, judges go and talk to the students who are performing and ask them questions. In this case, if I were a problem judge, I would come and talk to the kids about their instruments, which they built. So I'm going to ask, tell us your name?
Tony.
Tony, tell us about this instrument right here.
Well, we call it a pipe piano, and it took us 48 hours, and we tuned it to a piano, so...
How did you make it?
Well, we cut this with a pipe cutter, and we just nailed these together, and that's it.
And what about those tubes? What are they made of?
These are cardboard tubes, and this is PVC, and we Velcroed them here and here.
You Velcroed them. What an interesting way of fastening them. So it's cardboard tubes Velcroed to PVC pipe, and marbles go down the pipe, and they hit the tuned metal tubes.
Right.
Pretty ingenious. And these guys invented this. What's this ingenious instrument?
Well, it started out first as just a bunch of tubing with balloons attached, but then we put the made it look like a piano.
Mm-hmm.
And what we did, we made these floats, and then we hooked them up with clear plastic piping to valves and attached balloons onto them for an air source.
Wow, so it's kind of like an organ, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty ingenious. And you cut the pipes yourself?
Yeah.
Wow. Pretty neat. And what's your other instrument?
These are the drums.
These two were made out of rawhide. I made them and used rawhide lacing, and they shrunk after. I put it in water, and then they shrunk after, so they dried, so they're nice and tight. And this third one is made out of a bucket we had around our garage, and we were just tapping on things, and we found that it made a very good sound, and so we decided to use it. And then we decorated it with Native American symbols, and these two have Native American symbols too.
Quite stylish. Okay, now we'll meet the coaches who worked with this team of young gentlemen from Duveneck School, and we'll talk to them a little bit about what it's like to coach an Odyssey of the Mind team. Meet Lynn Audette and Ginny Henke.
Hello.
Hello. All right, so tell us, what was it like? These ladies are first-year coaches. They've never coached before. Tell us a little bit about your experiences coaching.
Well, I think as a coach, you need to have a lot of time to spend with the kids, and to find the time is a problem, and also to live with a lot of clutter around your house, because you have props in the living room, and you have props on the patio, and you have props in the garage, and it's a challenge to live with all that, because this has been going on since September.
So from September until March, which was the first competition, they worked, and then they prepared for state, which was 6 weeks later. Mm-hmm. What kind of training do you recommend?
Patience, I guess, would be the primary training. We really didn't have any training before we jumped in, but I would recommend that anyone who's interested go to a regional competition, which is what Ginny and I did the year before. And we found it very interesting because we could see the different problems that people were solving and find something that we thought would be of interest to our group and also our abilities as parents that we could fit into our schedule.
Did you ever think that you'd be going to World Finals?
No. But Lynn put a sign on my front door step that said, Lynn and Ross made it, it said, Ames, Iowa, here we come. And Ames, Iowa is where the world competition is going to be this year.
And that was back in September.
In September, she put it on my front doorstep, and I left it there. And we photographed the boys holding it, and we're all going to Ames, Iowa this June.
And you can see that they have these very stylish T-shirts. And we have to also point out that these are bare feet here, because after all, California mascot is a bear, but one of the rules changed, and there are now no bare feet.
Before such a huge decision I make, a closer look I should probably take.
Sorry, Alice, you boxed yourself in. The sour apple is the one you win, ha-ha. All of your life you have been lost, never know where to go. But now is the time your troubles have found you. You must decide who you are.
We're back, and we're with a team from Palo Alto High School who won in their division and problem, which was called Set It Free. It involved building a balsa wood structure. I'll introduce the team members who are with me, and they'll tell you more about how they solved this problem. They went on to place 4th in state championship. With me are Tiarco,
Hi.
Romina, and Martine.
Hello.
All members of the industrial technology class or engineering technology class taught by Doug Bertain at Palo Alto High School. Doug Bertain is a second-year coach. He's coached at both Gunn High School and Palo Alto High School and has coached probably 2 or 3 winning teams. Tell us a little bit about the problem and how you solved it.
All right, I have a sample structure with us. It's already been crushed, but you had 15 grams of balsa wood to work with. It had to be balsa wood, and the pieces of wood couldn't be any larger than 1/8 by 1/8 inch balsa wood. The structure had to be between 7 7/8 and 8 inches high, and had to have room for a 2-inch cylinder to pass through the middle. So that set the diameter criteria for it. Also, Set It Free comes from the need for the structure to hold a balsa wood, a ping pong ball, encapsulate it in balsa wood, and then eject it when the structure crushes.
Great. Tell us a little bit about how your team solved the problem. What was your presentation like?
Okay, it took us a long time. We went through many ideas, but we finally decided to use a bunch of FBI agents hanging out in their headquarters, and they suddenly get a call from Hillary Clinton, and she tells them that there's a bomb placed in Pentagon headquarters. So the whole team has to go, and they have to disarm the bomb. And the main point is we put weights on the structure, which is a bomb, and we're trying to, it's a nuclear bomb with the uranium core, which is a ping pong ball. So we're trying to eject the ping pong ball from the structure and save the world, I guess.
That's great. And how much weight did your structure hold?
About 325 or something like that.
Over 300 pounds. And this was 15 grams of balsa wood, right?
Yeah.
15 grams. Wow. Tell a little bit about what different team members did to contribute to the solution.
We were only allowed to have 5 team members in the presentation, but all 7 team members participated in doing the skit and also the structure.
Did you have costumes?
Yeah, we had FBI costumes and suits for the FBI agents.
That's great. What was your favorite part about solving this problem?
It was doing the skit. It was a lot of fun.
Sounds like you had a lot of fun and used humor in solving the problem. We'll now see examples of teams actually doing a balsa wood problem. We'll see an example of last year's Palo Alto High School team's actual structure crushing at last year's state competition. And then we'll come back and see a team from this year from JLS who solved the same problem in the junior high school division.
Good evening. This is the Channel 3 7 o'clock news, and I'm Meryl Lynch. And I'm Jim Cook. We are live at Mercer County Jail, where Cousin It of the Addams family is being held under suspicion of cheating in a local Odyssey of the Mind competition. Jim? Thanks, Meryl. Apparently, during a spontaneous problem, Cousin It sneezed in such a way that the judges interpreted it to be a clue for his teammates. The authorities were notified, and Cousin It was taken into custody at 4:30 p.m. today. We now take you to Cousin It's cell, where he is under close surveillance.
Hi, I'm Morticia, and this is Uncle Fester of the Addams family. We've come to see It.
What?
No, what's at home? Where's It?
Where's what?
What's at home? Where's Cousin It?
Oh, Cousin It. Okay, well, you go straight down that hallway, past 2 doors, and hang left. Go right at the water fountain, down 2 flights of stairs. The first left, the second left after that. Past the sign that says go right, then go right, and it's the 3rd door on your left.
Thanks.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Cousin It, we've missed you so much. We baked you this special cake. Hello?
Nice gun you have there. Would you like some cake?
No. I'm on a diet.
It's fat-free and only 200 calories per serving.
Oh, okay. I'll have just a bit.
milk.
Oh dear, we forgot the milk.
Oh, I'll go get some. Be right back.
Cousin It, this is a model of the jail with a ping pong ball in it that represents you. And we put a voodoo curse on it, so when we crush the structure, the jail will collapse and you'll be free. Now we just have to crush it. No, not you, Cousin It, the structure.
Over there. We set it free.
Where is everybody? Hello? Where are you? Hey, hey, hey. Hello, cake.
Wow, what an incredible series of events! And now Cousin It is a fugitive. Folks, we are witnessing history in the making. We will be bringing you live updates throughout tonight and tomorrow. I'm Meryl Lynch. And I'm Jim Cook. For the 7 o'clock news, good night.
We're back with members of the Set It Free team from JLS Middle School. I'm with Shannon Kelly and Jaya King, who you saw as Cousin It, but you didn't know it, in their performance. And they're going to tell us a little bit about how they went about solving the balsa wood problem you just saw them perform. Tell us a little bit about how you put together that solution.
Well, first we started out mostly working on the structure and trying to get a strong structure. But then as the competition got nearer, we sort of had to do a skit. So we were coming up with skit ideas. And then at one of the meetings, just all of a sudden, somebody yelled out, "Cousin It," and because it goes with the problem name, Set It Free. So we decided to use that.
That's great. And how did you go about writing the script and making the characters real?
Well, Laura and Kathy basically came up with the script, and we didn't really have anything to do with it. We just approved of it.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm sure everybody watching wants to know how much weight your structure held. There were a lot of weights on that structure.
Well, I think that it ended up holding 334 pounds.
334 pounds, and you started with how much balsa wood?
15 grams.
15 grams of balsa wood, 334 pounds. The Wonder Women from JLS Middle School. They placed 4th in state competition and 1st in Region 11. We're back, and you just saw the mini terrain vehicle presentation from Jordan Middle School here in Palo Alto. And with me is the Gunn High School mini terrain vehicle team, and they won 1st place in the regional competition and 2nd place in the state of California. With me is their coach, Bill Abbott, who will be narrating their presentation for you right now.
Thank you. This is a non-linguistic problem, so the team members don't get to speak. The first demonstration is going to be the 2 cars, Pickles and Cricket, which Lyndon Willis is going to set off now. They'll come over here and hit this cinder block together, and then the upper car, Pickles, gets to return and attempt to pop the balloons that are behind Lyndon. Take it away, Lyndon. Okay. The next car is a car called Boots, built by Zhao Huang. Zhao is going to start Boots up. Boots is going to come about halfway across, and then it's going to change shape dramatically, which is what the problem called for. This is for the flip-flop problem. Second time's a charm. Okay, and in this last problem, Lyndon is going to launch his car Pickles again. This time it's going to go up and hit the second car, Pipsqueak, that's in the middle, and then Pipsqueak will go ahead and hit the balloon. What you can see is Lyndon's got a circuit that he can change the number of batteries so that it goes slower in this, so that the little car is faster and doesn't, the big car doesn't get in the way in the back. So, go for it. this problem only scores if the second car hits the balloon or crosses the finish line. Once the first car hits it, the first car doesn't count for anything. And that is the winning form of the gun MTV team as they demonstrated at the regionals and at the national or the state competition. Now I'd like to introduce the members of the team and show you a little bit of the background and the theme that they chose for their presentation, which was Greek gods. Stand up, guys. Okay, come on out in the middle. The team members are John Kilkline. Say hi, John. Niket Searcy.
Hi.
Brian Young.
Hi.
Edward Fong.
Hi.
Chris Chang.
Hi.
Sao Huang. And Lyndon Willis.
Hey.
They're good guys. They all knew each other before this started. I'm the only stranger here. They originally chose the theme of small fuzzy animals in outer space, which just struck me as the funniest thing you could possibly do with moving, intergalactic gerbil spaceships or something, but no one would do anything on it, which is one of the things about the OM process is that the kids have to do everything. So because they wouldn't do anything, all I could make was polite suggestions like, guys, you've got to get your style done soon, and nothing happened. So eventually we had another vote, and the second time they voted, they chose Greek gods as their themes. This time something happened. They put together some costumes, they put together some backdrops, and they put together a skit, and the skit included a lot of acting out the trials and tribulation of one of the gods, but at the end they did a dance, and I'd like you gentlemen to show the television audience your dance now. This was the dance they did when they were successful. Come on, everybody.
Oh.
To complete our demonstration of the Gun High School MTV team's winning style, I'd like to show off two details. One is their membership sign. Each OM team has to have a membership sign which shows what city the team is from or what school it's from and the membership number and nothing else. And the big black splotch you can see in the middle of the sign is where the sign used to say team. Didn't say team A or B or team 2, it just said team. And they got a 5-point penalty for that. And so they've marked it out so they don't make that mistake a second time. You have to do exactly what the rules say, and that's one of the things that the team has learned. The last thing I'd like to have the audience see tonight is a spontaneous problem-solving problem. Besides the long-term problems, OM emphasizes short-term creative problem-solving, often with silly materials and sort of strange goals. And so as a coach, what I would do is bring odd things to them and give them to groups of the team members and have them build things. So we've got some odd things. We have some paper cups and some pieces of purple paper, and we have some straws and some, what have we got here? We've got rubber bands and pieces of bamboo and just sort of stuff. And the problem is to build the tallest structure you can in 1 minute. They had 8 minutes to practice out in the hallway before we started, so now they've got 1 minute to repeat their success. So, go. Seconds.
Okay, go talk to us.
Okay. Right now, they're desperately putting together the last pieces. Some of the spontaneous problems we've had have included trying to get pins across a room to pop balloons and trying to build structures like this. We've had structures built out of marshmallows and spaghetti. We've had structures built out of paper. We had paper airplanes where you got more points for using extra pieces. one of the things that goes with this is leaving parts out because that makes it harder. And time is up. Are you guys ready? Okay, stop. Stop. Uh-oh. Okay, whatever stands up for 3 seconds. Stand it up. Never say die. This is the coach's work. Okay. What'll stand up for, which one will stand up for 3 seconds? This one will. 1, 2. I think we have a winner. And the winner is this half of the team. Actually pretty.
And we're back, and with me is Bill Abbott, who you just heard narrating the presentation for the mini terrain vehicles for Gunn High School. And Bill is unusual as a coach for 2 reasons. Unlike the other coaches that you've met this evening, he's neither a parent nor a teacher. He's a community volunteer. And how did you get involved in Odyssey of the Mind?
Well, actually, Nina, you asked me to join Odyssey of the Mind.
You're not supposed to tell them that, Bill.
Well, but someone from Odyssey of the Mind who was doing it said to me, how would you like to do this? And I said, sounds good to me. And you said, go to the teacher training next week. And so I went to the teacher training next week. And I had great fun. It was a 2-hour meeting, and you had a videotape from the previous year, and you had spontaneous problems for the teacher trainees to do. And you sort of crystallized the essence of OM in one of the verbal questions that you asked. You asked people to name common stones. And people came up with, you know, coal and diamonds and rubies and amethysts and granite and that sort of thing. And you said those were all 1-point answers. And we all sort of said, huh? And then you said Mick Jagger was a 3-point answer because it's a common stone. And that sort of is the basis of OM. And that's why I do it, because it's so much fun. And the kids I was coaching, the team I was coaching, were all veterans. They'd done it before. So all I had to do was sort of show up and prod them along. The coach can't do anything anyway. It all has to be done by the team. The coach just asks questions.
What Bill is talking about is outside assistance. Part of the job of the coach is to get kids focused on solving the problem, but not teach them how to solve the problem and not solve the problem for them. And what happens is kids brainstorm. Kids invent all kinds of stuff, and you've seen the results of those brainstorm sessions. What I'd like to do is issue a challenge to each of you watching this program. If you're impressed with what you see here this evening and think you'd like to get involved with Odyssey of the Mind, contact us. The number you can call is 415-493-0354. We're looking for adult volunteers. Each year we have to turn away kids because we can't get enough adults involved. What we'd like to see is so many adult volunteers participating that more kids can participate next year. So if this sounds good to you, get in touch with us. And now we're going to see a team that was self-coached, a team of high school kids for whom we couldn't find a coach, so they coached themselves. And I'll tell you a little secret about this team before you meet them. And that is that 2 years ago, I was their coach. 4 of the kids on this team were on the very, very first team that I coached 2 years ago, and they've gone on to do great things. And they enjoy being together so much that they formed their own team this year and solved one of the performance problems. And now let's meet them. This is the Iliad team from Gunn High School here in Palo Alto. You've heard earlier this evening that spontaneous problem solving is a key part of Odyssey of the Mind problem solving. I'd like to introduce the team. On my left, Cindy Sheldon, who acted as the coach for the team, Timo Street, Jeremy Katz, Abe Heifetz, Tom, Rachel, and Phoebe. The first 4 were part of my original team 2 years ago, and they've gone on to do great things. What we'd like to show you is the way a coach would work in a meeting with team members. You can see that each of them have ordinary sticks of spaghetti. And what a coach often does to start off a meeting is hand team members a common object and ask them, we'll say, you have 15 seconds to think and a minute to respond. Think of all the things you can do with, in this case, it's spaghetti. And so we're going to start at Cindy's end, and we're going to keep going for about a minute. And you'll see the kinds of responses that team members come up with after a brief period of thinking. So your 15 seconds start now. Okay, are you ready? Go.
Antenna?
The pen is mightier than the sword.
Ching. Black Mamba. Ah! Javelin for a small bag.
Dummy detector.
It's a balancing pole for midget tightrope walkers.
Shaving.
I knew I should have used Head and Shoulders. 13th century, head on a pike.
Get it off! Ah! No!
On guard.
Chia. Straw.
Acupuncture that did not work. Oh, jeez. Many centuries ago, found in an archaic cave.
Skiing accident. Had to have 4 of these put on my leg.
Robin Hood, the early years.
I can't take it anymore.
These are those things they didn't want you to play with as a kid. You could poke your eye out.
Poison ring. Hair thing.
Just keep rubbing these till I get a fire. Gotta get that piece of steak. Jeez.
Mohawk. Toe thingy.
Walrus.
Moustache.
Disgusting growth on my leg.
And there you have it, spontaneous problem solving by the Iliad team from Gunn High School. We're back, and I'm here with Cindy Sheldon, who was on my first OM team at JLS 2 years ago when she was in 8th grade. She's continued with OM in 9th grade, and this year coached her very own team, and I'd like to know a little bit more. Tell us about your experience with OM starting with 8th grade.
Well, got on a team because a friend of mine was into it at the night where they signed you up, and started. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, and tell about the problems you worked on.
Okay, well, my first problem was called the omument. We were told to create a monument out of 3 separate pieces and put it together in an 8-minute skit, and it had to be an original monument. It was pretty hard. My second problem last year was dinosaurs. We had to create an actual dinosaur and make up one of our own. Then this year, we did classics, the Iliad, where you had to take a scene out of Homer's The Iliad, which is a long epic, and relate it to a 20th century scene in history.
Tell us a little bit about how you put your team together this year.
Well, a couple of the people on the team were on the team that the 2 of us were on a couple years ago. And then just the other people were just people that I knew. One of the girls, Rachel Mills, was friends with the boys that were on our team. And Phoebe Kitanides was a friend of mine who I talked to about it last year. And Tom Hall was somebody that I just met this year who became a friend of mine and seemed interested. So, kind of.
Well, what skills did you look for as you tried to encourage people to join your team?
Well, in every OM team, you need some people that are very good at spontaneous. That would definitely be Tim O'Street and Jeremy Katz and Abe Heifetz and Tom Hall, and then myself were the spontaneous team. And Phoebe Kitanides is a writer. She's very creative, writes poetry and stories very well. Rachel Mills is just sort of an all-out crazy sort of person. And Tom looked really good for Zeus. That's kind of why we chose him. Everybody else was sort of, hey, I'm doing an OM problem, you want to do this? And I'd known them before and worked with them before, and I decided to work on it this year. I mean, we finally got a very good combination of people before my past teams hadn't been that great, but this year was really well.
And they won. Are you going to stay together next year?
Mostly, actually. Tom, I believe, wants to do the vehicle problem, and Abe and Jeremy aren't sure, but everybody else wants to be on a drama team, which is what I will be doing, and actually having a coach this year.
Well, tell us, what's it like to coach your very own team?
Very, very hard. My parents ended up doing a lot of work because you need a coach who can drive, and I can't, and you need somebody with a lot of space in their house that you can just put props everywhere. So we ended up clearing out my garage and dropping everything there.
Well, we heard from the earlier team many of those same feelings, that your house is overtaken with OM props and scenery, and that it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. And yet, it's great to see kids taking the initiative to coach their own team. And they won. They went to perform in San Bernardino at the state competition, and they're going to be back next year. And what about you? If this sounds like fun, we'd like you to get involved in OM. We need coaches. We need judges for our competitions. We need school coordinators to get kids involved and help the coaches. And there's virtually any kind of opportunity in OM that you can look for. We need people on the board. We need people to do publicity. We need people to work with local merchants. And it's great fun. Every year, we have to turn kids away because we have more kids who want to participate in OM than we have adult coaches, judges, and school coordinators who can support them in their participation in OM. If this sounds like something you'd like to do, get in touch with us. Participate in OM by donating time or money so that kids can compete at state and world competitions, and so that we can provide scholarships for schools who don't have the money to pay for a registration. There are many schools within Santa Clara County who'd like to participate, but they don't have adult resources, and they don't have the money. We need your help. So call us. 415-493-0354 is the number to call for more information about Odyssey of the Mind in Region 11 in California. And I remind you that that extends from San Francisco all the way through Monterey counties. We'd love to get you involved in the program, and we'd love to see more outstanding solutions to the innovative problems that come up every year. One of the things that's a real benefit of participating in Odyssey of the Mind is that kids are well prepared for the workforce. They learn to think on their feet, they learn to solve problems, they learn to paradigm shift so that they can come up with innovative and unusual solutions to situations presented to them. We've got all kinds of big solving to do in this society, and Odyssey of the Mind is preparing today's youth to create the solutions we're going to need tomorrow.